I have been getting a lot of requests to do a review of X-Men Days of Future Past. It's taken me a little while. When I walked out of the movie theater, I gave this film a 10. So naturally, I wanted to take a little time to really think about it. A 10 is pretty much a perfect score, right? So the movie must be perfect. So I had to make sure that it was. So this review is more about looking at the holes people are trying to poke in the film rather than anything else. So let's do an in-depth review, shall we? By this, I don't mean discussing the nuances of the actors, the choices they made to bring these incredible characters to life. Instead, I'm going to talk about the plot, and some of the things that people are saying that don't really match. The first thing I will address is Xavier dead? Well, no, he's not. Actually, it was made clear in the continuity that Xavier inhabits a new body, having transferred his consciousness. Why does the body look like Xavier? Think of it as residual self-image. Xavier sees himself when he looks in the mirror. This is enough to cognitively suggest to others that he looks like himself. Don't buy it? Well, think about how powerful Xavier really is. Powerful enough to trap the Phoenix in the recesses of Jean Grey's mind. Yeah, he can project a constant self-image. All he would have to do is believe in himself. Why does future Wolverine have adamantium claws when he clearly got them chopped off in the last Wolverine movie? Well, Wolverine has claws in the future. Well, yeah, it's the future. He has, since having had them cut off, found a way to repair the damage. It is possible Magneto helped them. I mean, he can manipulate any normal metal. Maybe we'll see this play out on screen, maybe not, since X-Men Days of Future Past reset the universe to a very large degree. It is, however, not important. One does not need to know how he got his claws back. It is irrelevant to Days of Future Past, and would have just taken up unnecessary screen time. As is evident here, the film pays attention to continuity. As pre-Weapon X, Wolverine does appear with his bone claws. This makes it hard for me to believe that the filmmakers simply forgot that Wolverine had had his claws cut off in the previous Wolverine film. It is more than likely that he's simply suggesting that he found a way to repair the damage. Not hard to believe, since as I mentioned previously, he does now pair up with Magneto. As I stated previously, I had given X-Men Days of Future Past a 10, but have since recanted. The reason being is not so much a mistake in the film, but a glaring hole in logic. One weakness that really stands out is the manner in which Magneto was able to take control of the Sentinels. He basically pumped them full of metal. With this, he was able to take control sufficiently enough of systems of digital components, move them around, sure, but control every aspect of their functionality? In the film's defense, Magneto does lose control of the machines once his concentration is spread thin by the events of the film's climax, but I feel the method of control would have yielded more resistance from the Sentinels to begin with. I simply do not believe it. This stands out to me because the rest of the film, despite its fantastical nature, comes off as completely credible. For this, I'm docking the film 0.5, bringing it down to a 9.5. A 9.5 is still a spectacular score. Well, why? Because the film is fantastic. Besides this one flaw that I found, I really had to struggle to find anything in the movie that I didn't absolutely love. So for that, this movie is pretty much a perfect comic book movie. More importantly, X-Men Days of Future Past is just a great film in general. You must view this film. It is that good. The cast in this film is absolutely amazing. I mean, you've got Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. You've got Hugh Jackman, James McAvoy. You've got Michael Fassbender. You've got Halle Berry, Ellen Page, Peter Dinklage. Evan Peters, believe it or not, steals the show, however briefly, as Quicksilver. Bing Bing Fang plays Blink and does a spectacular job despite having very little screen time. I'm leaving out a ton of characters here, but frankly I don't have the time to cover all of them because this movie is that huge. Not everyone gets a ton of screen time, but it was nice to see Bishop on film for the first time. Seriously though, why is Cable not in this movie? I mean, Cable should be in this movie. This screams Cable. By the way, the future Sentinels look amazing. I mean, the CGI is incredible, and these things are relentless and so wicked. I mean, they make the Terminator look like a Tinker toy. That's how unstoppable they are. This film marks the return of Bryan Singer as the director, and he does a wonderful job of repairing this timeline that had been fragmented heavily in the past by previous additions into the franchise. He does such a good job, in fact, that it's comparable to what J.J. Abrams did to reboot Star Trek. And in fact, not really rebooting it, but simply just resetting the timeline so that events that need to stay the same do, and things that we want to change can change within the construct of the movie without seeming unbelievable. Kudos to him. This is really, really good work. Let's, however, not forget that in order to do this great work, he needed a great script. Simon Kinberg is credited as having been the major scribe on this script, and he did a great job of penning something that really translates well to the screen and still keeps the essence of the X-Men. So this is a fantastic work. I would love to see these guys team up again for the next film, which is Age of Apocalypse. Totally looking forward to that one.